Another day, another link as Derby County look to improve their starting 11 and squad depth options for the end of this Sky Bet Championship season. Another option being linked to Derby County is Joe Gelhardt, who is a 22-year-old forward born on May the 4th, 2002. Currently playing his football for Leeds United, but he hasn't made that many appearances this season. His contract does expire in 2027, and there's a range of Championship clubs looking at this potential option. Does Joe Gelhardt fit what Paul Warne is trying to do with this Derby County side? I'm personally not entirely sure, but we're going to cover all of that in this video today and look at how Joe Gelhardt could potentially fit in for Derby County. Now, if we do take a look at the link, it comes from Darren Whitcoop. Joe Gelhardt will leave Leeds on loan this month, but his future destination still remains unclear. Several Championship clubs have registered interest, with the forward weighing his future up amid enquiries from overseas. The linked clubs in the Championship appear to be Portsmouth, QPR, Cardiff City, Derby County and Plymouth Argyle, all teams which I can completely understand why they'd probably want to go and pick up Joe Gelhardt. Now, obviously, Joe Gelhardt has a fairly decent backing of clubs across the course of his career so far, obviously coming through at the likes of Wigan, where he made 21 appearances for the first team, scoring 1 goal before then moving. I think he went straight to Leeds after that, where he spent some time with the academy at Leeds, playing 31 times, scoring 20 goals, assisting 6. Then he obviously went on loan to Sunderland, 20 appearances, 3 goals, 3 assists, and then he's been with Leeds as first team ever since. He's made 57 appearances, 3 goals and 5 assists. Most of them should be noted down as substitute appearances though, and I do believe that Gelhardt can offer something for Derby County, but is he really the type of player we're looking at? He stands at 1.8 metres tall, which is around 5'8", which in my opinion doesn't really fit with the narrative of what Paul Warne wants or claims that he wants for a striker at Derby County. He wants a big man who can hold up the ball, who can also get into the box and make things happen for his team. And ultimately, we have seen this season a bit of a shift into a smaller striker with Jerry Yates, and I think on occasion it's worked really, really well, and I think across the course of this season it will continue to work well. Now, for a player of Joe Gelhardt's ability, he'll obviously be wanting more minutes, which is obviously why his future is in question right now. And I do believe that he will end up on loan somewhere in the Championship. I think he'll stay with Leeds unless a good offer comes in, because it's currently valued at €3.5 million by Transfer Market, and I personally don't think anyone's going to be willing to pay that money. Now, if we look at what leagues he's played in, competitions and things like that, just under 50 appearances in the Championship, 4 goals, 3 assists. 35 appearances in the Premier League, 2 goals and 4 assists. He's played in the EFL Cup 8 times with a goal, played in the EFL Trophy 4 times, 2 goals, 2 assists, as well as the FA Cup, where he's played 4 times with an assist, and in the Championship playoffs. Now, for me, I think he could be a really good option for Derby County because he has versatility, and because of his size he can play a range of different positions. If we just look at his positional map that I'm putting on screen now, obviously most notably he's a centre forward, and that is where he'll probably play if he comes into Derby County. He'll be a backup option for the likes of Jerry Yates, or he'll play just in behind Jerry Yates in a front 3 or front 4, whatever you want to consider it, depending if we play 3 at the back or 4 at the back. He can obviously play that second striker position, which is where I sort of see him going eventually. And then obviously he's played in those other positions as well, on the right and the left. And I do believe that he could have an impact for Derby County. I think he's one of those players, in my opinion, who could come in and make a real difference. Now, the question is I don't particularly see where he fits in. And we can look at the squad depth chart all we want, and we can look at the positions where we need players, and we know that a striker is one of them positions. But ultimately, does Joe Gelhardt fit how we've been playing this season? Does he improve what we've already got? Now, on the basis of improvement, I certainly think he's a better option than Connor Washington and James Collins. Probably better than Dejan Brown at current parts of their career, which, in my opinion, I'd bring in a Gelhardt to let Dejan Brown go and get first team football for Crawley Town, for Burton Albion, Peterborough, Bolton. Send him out on loan, let him go and play 90 minutes a week and see what he can do in League 1, in League 2. And you look at Gelhardt, and I think he offers something completely different to Brown though, which is why I think it wouldn't be a case of bringing Gelhardt in to let Brown go. And this is where it gets a little bit difficult. This season he's made 2 appearances in the Championship and 1 appearance in the EFL Cup, and it's difficult to look at him because there's not really much to go off. Obviously, if we go further back in his career, he's obviously had some really good times, and he's had some of them at Leeds United. He's scored some really important goals. Obviously, his contract does expire in June 30th of 2027, so he's not exactly going to be a player who's up for picking up at the end of the season on a permanent contract, and I ultimately think that a loan deal for him would probably be quite an expensive one as well, which is obviously interesting for Derby County to look at, because why are we sort of bringing in a player who ultimately we don't know if he can cut it at this level? Yes, obviously Leeds United is a much better quality side than us, which is probably why it's so difficult for him to get in. But can he sort of come into a struggling side and have an impact? Over the course of his career, we showed it earlier on, but he's not exactly scored that many goals in first team football, which is what makes this deal a bit questionable for me. It's 32 goals across the course of his career, including FA Youth Cup and things like that, in 134 appearances. If we look at his goals for the under-21s and under-18s, there's 25 of those goals are coming from there. So it's only 7 goals-ish in first-team football, which, for me, don't get me wrong, for a player who's not really been a starting striker really anywhere, I do think it's a good number, but I do think that Derby County need more than that. We need more than just a good number. And personally, I can't see this being a cheap loan deal, because we don't have to play Leeds United again this season, so we'll be able to play every game until the end of the year. But will Leeds United really want him to come to us with the relationship that we have with Leeds? Will he want to come to us based on the relationship we have with Leeds? These are all questions which will be answered across the course of the window, obviously, but it's really difficult to see where he sort of fits in with that Derby County setup and with the style of play that Paul Warne's trying to do. Now, I'm going to look into... someone's pointed something out to me on Twitter that I'm going to take a look into and see if I can get a video out towards the end of this week about sort of the move in the Championship from sort of the back threes to the back fours, because of, obviously, in the centre-back position, nobody really has the right athleticism at the moment, or nobody really has the right sort of players. You look at Leeds United, they sort of drop a midfielder to make a back three and push the wingers on so that they can have the right athleticism in that back five. And for me, Joe Geldhardt's perfect position would be in a 3-4-3 and one of those central 10s behind the striker, because that's where I think he'd get the most. He's small enough that he's nimble, we can get on the ball, he's a decent enough player, and he does know where the back of the net is. And if you've got a big man up there winning the headers, he's got the pace and power behind him to be able to get onto play and things like that. I do think that Gelhardt would be a decent sign if that's what we're going in to do. Now, you can obviously let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned for all of my latest Derby County content coming your way. We've obviously got a ton of transfer profiles coming across the course of this month. Will Gelhardt be one that signs? I'm not entirely sure. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'll catch you in the next one.